We are now joined by the President of the Republic of Slovenia, escorted by the headmaster of Rudolf Meister Grammar and Vocational School, Branislav Rauch. The anthem of the Republic of Slovenia. Good evening, dear guests. My name is Milan Mandels, and I'm very honored to be your host for tonight. But first, I would like to extend the warmest of welcomes to our esteemed guests. First and foremost, to Madam President Natasha Pitz-Musser, to our headmaster, Branislav Rauch, to Matej Slapper, the mayor of the Kamnik municipality, to Emil Ferjancic, chairman of the permanent committee of the Alpine Convention, Alenka Smrkola, secretary general of the Alpine Convention, members and representatives of YPAC, and SIPRA Youth Council. Delegates, teachers, mentors, friends. It's always good to have such a generous audience. It's not often that so many distinguished guests would gather in our school's great hall, which is usually filled with pleasant chatter and bustling young energy. But events such as YPAC are exactly what schools are also destined to do. To be the meeting spot for the eager students who do care about tomorrow. Experts who are willing to lend their ear to the young, and decision makers with the power of implementation. It does not get more productive than this. It has been 9 years since YPAC last visited Kamnik. In the last 9 years, the world has come closer to self-annihilation than ever before. Some say we're close to the tipping point. Others assert we're way past it. In times of natural calamities, political instabilities, fundamental social changes, we need connectivity, international cooperation, intergenerational tolerance, and freshness of ideas. In short, we need hope, or some affirmation that hope will endure even in these troubled times. And I do hope that our tonight's speakers will be able to provide at least a bit of that hope that we need so much. Dear ladies and gentlemen, the first speaker to join me tonight is a person who has kindly supported us teachers and students in all our attempts and work. The headmaster of our school, Branislav Rauch.
It is with great pleasure and honor that we host the Youth Parliament of the Alpine Convention for the second time. Our school bears the name of Rudolf Meister, a great Slovenian who significantly shaped the Slovenian destiny. We strive to live in the spirit of his values, which is why I am particularly pleased to see the youth of the Alpine region coming together and actively shaping the life in the Alpine region. Our YPAC session, however, is more than just an extracurricular activity for students to learn basic democracy. It is no less than a platform for harmonious international cooperation, recognized for its attempts at sustainable societal and environmental development. YPAC 2024 is no different. The presence of many distinguished guests tonight, as well as during the week, bears evidence of its wider importance. What is more, it is a place of collaboration and connectivity. It is during YPAC 2024 in Kamnik that for the first time in history, delegates of YPAC will be joined by members of the USALF Youth Council and CIPRA Youth Council, two organizations that, just like YPAC, bring together young people from the Alpine countries and aim to make their voices, perspectives on current social, geographical and environmental issues heard across Europe and beyond. Organizing such an event is not straightforward, and therefore I must sincerely thank our students, my teachers and mentors, as well as other staff members of our school. The parents of students who have welcomed delegates from 7 countries into their homes and supported activities in various ways. The municipality of Kamnik, which supports the activities of YPAC even when we are not the hosts. The Ministry of Natural Resources and Spatial Planning, under which the Alpine Convention operates, the Secretariat of Alpine Convention, and also our USR friends who offered to cooperate with us. In the working days ahead of you, I wish you great inspiration, creativity, as well as fruitful and informed discussions that will yield effective and sustainable conclusions. Dear guests, I wish you a pleasant stay with us. Make the best of the opportunity to explore our beautiful town of Kamnik and the Slovenian capital, to forge new friendships and creative alliances that will positively impact the destiny of our Alpine region, where we aspire live healthy and promising futures. Enjoy the evening and thank you.
Thank you, Headmaster, for your words and for your continuous support. And now, without further ado, it gives me great pleasure to invite to the floor tonight's guest of honor. Dear ladies and gentlemen, please help me welcoming our President of the Republic, Natasha Pirc-Musser.
Good evening, everybody. Dobar večer. I will try not to be too long because you will listen to many speeches while you are here in Slovenia, I presume. But anyway, I decided that I have to say and share something with you. Dear Headmaster of Rudolf Meister High School, dear Mayor of Kamnik, which is also my hometown, I have to tell this, dear professors and participants from Rudolf Meister High School, delegates of the Youth Parliament of the Alpine Convention 2024, ladies and gentlemen. As Slovenia is presiding over the Alpine Convention this millennium, I am delighted that Kamnik is already for the second time hosting all of you from many Alpine countries. I am proud to be able to welcome you, delegates of the Youth Parliament of the Alpine Convention 2024, at your yearly gathering here in Slovenia. The general topic this week, protected natural areas, coincides perfectly with celebrating 100 years of Triglav National Park this year, which is our oldest and biggest protected natural area. We Slovenians are proud of our mountains and the mountaineering way of life. Hiking is a valued weekend activity, as is discovering and conquering various mountain peaks. There are infinite hikes to be taken, and in times of virtual reality and of instant gratification offered at the fingerprints of our smartphones, hiking is an activity of bonding with nature and of preservance. Coming from the Alpine countries, I'm sure this resonates deeply with your traditions and cultures too. Our countries also greatly treasure winter sports, and we would unfortunately be hard-pressed to find sports more affected by the ongoing climate change as are skiing, cross-country skiing, ski jumping, and other winter sports. Winter rain instead of snow is a result of the warming atmosphere and is devastating for the Alpine regions, traditionally strongly dependent also on winter tourism. This past summer, we also witnessed unprecedented flooding, yet another manifestation of the changing weather patterns due to climate change. The town of Kamnik and its surroundings were hit by the floods among the hardest. Yet this also is an excellent example of the urgency of the Alpine Convention. We have entered into this complex system of international agreements and commitments precisely to cooperate in the protection and management of all relevant cross-boundary issues. The value of the Alpine Convention is that it treats the Alpine mountain range as a solid geographical entity going beyond national borders. Delegates, there is also one additional point I would like to make tonight. That is the importance to recognize and accept the spark we all have inside of us. To nurture this spark and ignite it when the courage to take part in something that truly matters to you. Democratic participation is a civilizational achievement that allows us to do so. And you, my dear young friends, are indispensable part of that. For almost 2 decades, the Youth Parliament of the Alpine Convention has been bringing together students and teachers who genuinely care about the prosperity and sustainable development of the region, something I am passionate about too, and something that largely contributed to my decision to go into politics. And I would just like to share some insight with you tonight as well. When I was in Dubai at COP28, just in December last year, I was honestly hugely disappointed that the politicians there couldn't be harsher on what is needed to be done to preserve our planet. Do we have a planet B, my friends? No, we don't. This is the only one we have. And if we are honest, we all know that 80% of all the bad emissions we are putting into the air are produced by the G20 countries. But does that mean that we, who come from smaller countries, should just sit and rest and do nothing? I'm pretty sure that you know the answer, and I know the answer. The answer is yes, we have to do something as well. Every single person on this planet needs to put a tiny little stone into the mosaic to preserve the planet, the ecosystems, the animal, plants. That's our obligation. The obligation here of us today, the obligation of you who are our future, because we have to work for the generations behind. That's our obligation. And you being here tonight confirms all of that what I said. I see the courage and vigor when I look at every single one of you sitting in this auditorium. Though still young, your participation means that you are prepared to actively engage in shaping society and making the region a better place to live and thrive in for people, for animals, trees and plants, as I said, and for the environment. You are the future leaders of your generation, and you are the architects of our future. Whether it be climate change mitigation and adaptation, cultural heritage, international or national politics, science, finance, the economy, art, crafts or sports, you have a chance to define your generation and shape the future for the better. The Youth Parliament of the Alpine Convention might be the first step for some of you. One thing is clear, though. It is one of many steps that will shape who you are and will make up your heritage. So go ahead, be creative, be bold, take risks, be thoughtful, considerate, and above all, I please, I beg you, be kind to all human beings and to animals, and of course, to the planet. Give it your best. That's what I am asking of you. I cannot imagine better encouragement than this quote from the devoted European Jacques Delors, who passed away last year, but left us with this powerful message. Don't be a pessimist or an optimist. He said that we all should be activists. In conclusion, I would like to express my admiration and gratitude to every teacher and every mentor who has been involved in this project since it began in 2006, to its founding mothers, Mrs. Irmgard Zeenhofer and Mrs. Claudia Rauchheger, to everyone from all the participating schools and beyond who have helped the project grow, to everyone from this year's host school and to those who will carry the project on in the years to come. Of course, special thanks also to the parents who encourage and support their children in this project and who have opened their homes to participants from abroad. Finally, yet most importantly, thank you, dear delegates of the Youth Parliament of the YPAC Convention 2024, not only for inviting me to be part of this year's session, but above all, for the courage and your decision to make the Alpine region a better place, one step at a time. And I would just like to share one more story with you before I conclude. I don't know whether we are all aware that climate is changing. Sometimes we hear, the people who deny that something is going on. But you who are here, you know that science is important. We have to listen to scientists. We have to read. We have to learn to find the solutions. And the story which deeply, affected me when entering into the presidential campaign, because the young people, my young voters, were asking me about climate change all the time. They're asking me and begging me to be vocal about that today when I am a president. A couple of years ago, there was a strange incident in Siberia, in Russia. One farmer had a flock of 2,500 deer. And one day when he came there to see how the flock is doing, all the deer were dead. All of them, 2,500. And then the scientists from all around the world went there to check what was going on. And they found out that the permafrost is defrosting more into the depths than it should. The normal is 4 to 5 meters every summer. But now, the permafrost is defrosting to the depth of 6, 7, 8, even 10 meters. And you know what happened? 12,000 years old anthrax woke up. It came out of that defrosted permafrost and it killed all the deer. So this is what's going on around our planet. So we definitely must not be quiet. We have to be vocal about it. It's on me today. It's going to be on you tomorrow. And don't forget, I will say this again, there is no planet B. Thank you very much for the invitation. I honestly wish you a lot of good and creative discussions, good ideas, many opportunities together to get new knowledge, new experiences, and make new friendships. This is what this gathering is all about. Thank you very much. All the best.
Thank you, Madam President, for this inspirational story. And at this point, it is only befitting to take some moments and then perhaps ponder over the messages by our first two speakers. And what better way than by doing it with a bit of sweet music by our very own professors and students. Enjoy.
Cesti do ljubljene,
we are returning to tonight's speakers. The next one to share the floor with me tonight is Matej Slapman, the Mayor of the Municipality of Kamnik. The municipality has always been there for us, and we sincerely hope that our Mayor is happy with us tonight. Mr. Slapman, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Milan, dear Madam President, dear head of the Gymnasia and Secondary School of Otvoritvena, Mr. Stanislav Rauta, dear guests, welcome to Kamnik, our beautiful city here beyond the Kamnik-Slovenia Alps. And wish you a warm and beautiful stay here in this week in Kamnik. So, Kamnik is about in 10th place by the inhabitants and also by the meter squares in Slovenia. So we are between the biggest municipalities, and our city is about 800 years old, and we have a lot of heritage and also beautiful nature. So Kamnik-Slovenia Alps, Velika Planina, and medieval town, these are beautiful. This is surrounding us, and we are really proud of all of this nature and things that are around us. And also Slovenia is like that, so we are happy to live in this little piece of heaven, and we are proud to live here, and also wish all of you to have a good time here in Kamnik. Wish you great conclusions of your debates, and also for our municipalities, these conclusions are great and big topics to discuss and to implement into our legacy system. So thank you for taking Kamnik, for visiting you. Thank you for being here. Wish you great stay here, and wants to hear. I'm just looking forward to hear all the conclusions that you make in these few days. So welcome to Kamnik now, and welcome to Kamnik in the future when you can back maybe with your families, maybe with your friends. So welcome to Kamnik.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Now, YPAC, of course, would not be what it is today without the solid support of the Alpine Convention. And we are truly happy to have two representatives as speakers here tonight. The first to deliver her speech is Alina Smerkon, Secretary General of the Alpine Convention. Ms. Smerkon, the floor is yours.
Dear Presidents, Dr. Natasha Piazzusa, dear Headmaster, Mayor, other guests, but mostly teachers and delegates, you delegates, of course. It is really my big pleasure to be here tonight and to welcome you at this year's edition of YPAC. It's beautiful that we can be in Slovenia. I'm a Slovenian, so I'm always a bit. You have to understand, you will see when you live outside your country for 5 years, it's beautiful to come back. But YPAC is always an inspiration to me. I've been to quite some YPACs until now, some of them online. That was not that nice, but still very strong. But now, again, in presence, and that's a great thing. Why? Because when the energy of you, young minds from the Alps, come together, there has to be something good about it, and something good always comes out. Because when you start trying to find solutions to the big challenges we face, I wouldn't like to repeat whatever Mrs. President said, because everything she said is true, and I just hope that the messages she gave just, vibrate through the 3 days of the discussions in your minds. And it will be your job this week to discuss tricky questions we usually do and that the politicians then have to implement. The Alpine region is facing a lot of problems, and now it will be your time to try and find some solutions to those challenges. And of course, you will have to try and find a balance between protecting the natural environment and still making it available to everyone to enjoy and benefit from, on the one hand, and on the other, using the resources and land while ensuring we leave it in a healthy state for the future. And this is where the Alpine Convention comes in. More than 30 years ago, and I really like, it's not a story, it's just the truth about how the Alpine Convention was born. More than 30 years ago, when environmental issues were not as mainstream as they are today, a group of people recognized that the value of the Alpine environment for the well-being of inhabitants is really important. They understood that the Alpine range, as the Alpine Park as a mountain range, needs to be looked after and that it needed to be protected. These visionaries were the leaders of the Alpine countries and also afterwards European Union. And they did understand that the pressures and threats affecting the Alps are almost always of a cross-border nature, and that they never can, and they cannot be really solved by one country alone. And this is why they decided to create the Alpine Convention, which is a tool, which is a platform to cooperate across borders, but also across sectors. And together, only together, we can address common challenges that the Alpine region faces. The Alpine Convention is leading the way for sustainable life in the Alps, setting common principles for the protection on the one hand, but also sustainable development on the other. As a legal framework, the Convention contains objectives and commitments for the nature protection, as well as for the major sector of activities such as transport, energy, tourism, agriculture, and so on. But it is much, much more than just a legal framework. And the greatest strength of the Alpine Convention is gathering diverse people around one table and discuss common challenges. And this is what we'll be going to do during the next days. You will be discussing challenges and you will try to find solutions. And we're already looking forward to what I will listen to on Thursday in the Parliament. And I think that this is also what makes YPAC so special. And it's just that all the energy of you, young people, with freshness of mind, different schools, different countries, different backgrounds, come together to discuss one thing, second thing, one topic, second topic, third topic. And this is when you start to build a network. And this is what is crucial also for your future. So try and really not just discuss, don't just engage in the topics, try to build friendships. Because this network that you will, let's say, leave Kamnik with, can be your connections for the future, can be really your way for the future. You will be discussing protected areas, and I just cannot emphasize enough of how important, of how the value of having a youth perspective, your perspective on the topic we are working on is. The in youth parliament creates a very important link between the young people and the mission and goals of the YPAC Convention. And of course, this is also immediately clear when you look at your, let's say, committees. You have biodiversity, quality of life, cultural heritage, and climate change. And all of them perfectly align with what we call multi-annual work program. So our main priorities on which we work on, which are biodiversity and ecosystem, preserving them, of course, taking ambitious action for climate change, and enabling good quality of life for all people in the Alps, not just people, but also other species. The YPAC Convention is also a part of many international processes, and we are involved in various networks connecting mountain regions around the world. So we go far beyond of Alps only. And this is our opportunity to go global and to try and help others to follow what we try to do. And when you now start, you will be doing the same. You will start to build your network, to start doing actions for the planet. And I can tell you, when you start doing it, it feels very good. It's difficult to start, but when you are in such gatherings and you feel the energy and also the positivity, you get the motivation to go forward and become much more engaged. I'm very happy also that for the first time the YPAC and CIPRA Youth Council join the YPAC. And I think it will also provide great opportunity for you to exchange even further, so you will be even more to do something. And I'm sure that you will all benefit from these exchanges, because you have to learn about different structures. Sometimes you lose yourself in this world. It's sometimes difficult to understand how all these international structures predominantly work. And it's, again, an opportunity for you. Take it. I just want to say in the end, YPAC to me is unique. And I think after you go through these days, and when you conclude it, it will also be an achievement for you, but on the other hand, an achievement for everyone, because I think that this is what makes the democracy more broadly visible. This is how you start feeling how, in the end, the world should look like, how the parliament should work, and how they, in the end, work when you are old enough to come there and start representing us. And I would just like to close now by thanking everyone that made this YPAC doable. And of course, I always usually forget someone, but of course, it's the teachers, mentors, who dedicate their time making throughout the year the whole event possible, to all delegates. Again, parents, I think I always forget about the parents, and that you are so important. But in the end, you delegates fill the YPAC with life. And I really already look forward to what you're going to tell us on Thursday and throughout the year, because you will be able to present your results in various occasions. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Markov, for your continued support of our youth and their way to becoming future leaders. Now again, a taste of Slovenian music just before the last official part.
Ba 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 ba
speakers will round up tonight's opening ceremony. It is my pleasure to invite the first of the pair to the floor, and coming to us from the Ministry of Natural Resources and Spatial Planning, and is the current chair of the Permanent Committee of the Alpine Convention, Mr. Emil Frijancic.
Dear Madam President, Madam Secretary General, Mr. Mayor, Mr. Headmaster, dear delegates, dear professors. Thank you, Kamnik High School, for hosting this year's meeting of the Youth Parliament to the Alpine Convention. We are especially happy that this edition is taking place in Slovenia during our presidency to the Alpine Convention. For our 2-year mandate, the Slovenian presidency has set itself 3 priority topics: quality of life, environmental education with an emphasis on climate change, and biodiversity. As some of you might know, the topics of last year's YPAC was quality of life. I can tell you that we gladly included the outcomes of its work in our discussions at the Permanent Committee meeting here in Radovljica last June. Namely, the Permanent Committee is the executive body of the Alpine Convention, where delegates from all Alpine countries and the EU, as well as the observers from civil society, have regularly, twice per year, exchanges and ensure that the Convention's ideas, principles, and aims are carried out in practice. The Slovenian presidency is also preparing an extensive study on quality of life in the Alps. We carried out exchanges with local stakeholders and will be submitting a report to the ministers at the Alpine Conference on the topic. And I will repeat myself, the inputs we received from YPAC last year were a valuable contribution to our outcomes. So, thank you. This year's YPAC topic is also one of our 3 priority topics, and again, we very much look forward to seeing the results of your work. Possibly, in fact, hopefully, we will again be able to integrate them into our presidency's outcomes. I'm happy to see the program we have lined up for the coming days. You will meet very interesting, competent, and knowledgeable experts. I invite you to take the opportunity to pick their brains on the ideas you have already formed in the preparation phase of your work. I look forward to hearing your ideas and solutions on Thursday, and promise that the presidency will implement and disseminate your postulates as much as possible. Throughout our presidency activities, we try to include youth in our work, be it through your work as YPAC, be it through our priority on climate change education, where we are looking at different approaches in how to bring environmental education, also focusing on climate change, into the schoolwork. We had an interesting conference in September where we were looking at the work already done in different Alpine countries and how we could learn from each other. We are now in the phase of collecting good practices and will analyze them in order to prepare recommendations for the ministers to adopt in the next Alpine conference. So, as you see, the work we do is actually very similar to the work you will be doing during this week. Finally, this is a special year for Slovenia, as we as a country hold presidency of 2 similar, perhaps complementary decision-making bodies dealing with the same topics, the Alps. This doesn't happen very often. As you know, we are holding the presidency of the Alpine Convention, and in 2024, we also hold the presidency of the EU strategy for the Alpine region.
ILSA. Just as we work together on a policy level, you will also have a chance to do so, to some extent during the exchange with the ILSA youth on Friday. I wish you all a very fruitful week, but more importantly, make sure, as you have already told tonight, make sure to take time for informal exchanges. The meetings themselves only give us a framework to do the work, but the exchanges we have during the coffee breaks and in the evenings are the ones that make these meetings memorable and often offer solutions that we cannot achieve in meeting rooms. So, dear delegates, do not forget to also enjoy and have fun these days in Slovenia. I wish you all the best, and thank you.
And now for the last one. YPAC is about the youth and for the youth. And it's only appropriate to give one particular man the chance to have their voices heard. Ladies and gentlemen, on behalf of students and this year's YPAC presidency, this year's opening speech will be delivered by our very own student, Jaka Rudolf Vučković.
Dear guests, I would first like to welcome Madam President Dr. Natasha Pirc-Musser and other distinguished guests. YPAC 2024 has begun. Our main topic this year, for which we have been preparing for since November, is protected areas. And throughout the week, we will address questions related to climate change, quality of water, and the quality of life in the Alpine region. We have already begun our discussions, as in this morning we have met in person for the first time, had an introductory lecture, and had a meeting with the experts, where we expressed our opinions and postulations. Before the meeting, each delegate had to delve into the topic individually by preparing an essay which not only challenged our knowledge, but also our command over the English language and our ability to assess a situation critically. Additionally, we connected remotely, presented our ideas, exchanged our viewpoints and perspectives. Now, we are faced with the task to find common ground and find solutions to the problems affecting the Alpine region and its protected areas. We will draft 12 postulations, which I believe will be innovative and offer new perspectives to already existing problems in the Alpine region. On Thursday, these postulations will be presented and debated at the General Assembly, which is to happen in the Slovene Parliament. Here, I'd like to make a point to thank the people responsible for providing us with this amazing opportunity. The top 8 postulates will form the 2024 YPAC resolution, which each delegation will make sure to do their best at presenting to political representatives in their local and broader communities, with the hope that our voices and work will be heard. Also, allow me to mention that for the first time in history, the representatives of YPAC, the EU South Youth Convention, and the CITRA Youth Convention have come together to have a discussion. These 3 organizations share a goal of advocating for sustainable development in the Alpine region and for providing the residents with a healthy, safe, and an inclusive environment. Therefore, on Friday morning, we will have a discussion together, which I believe will prove effective, and our collaboration will certainly be successful. Now, on behalf of the presidency, myself, and the representatives of our school, I'd like to thank all of the guests for honoring us tonight with your arrival. And I would also like to thank the teachers and mentors for all their hard work, and the school's administration for always supporting students' endeavors and actions. A sincere thank you.
Thank you, Presidency. Now, before we get to meet the delegates, a bit more of music, and then it's your time. Now, we're warmed up for the second part of the ceremony, and it's time for us to meet the delegates. When I call you, please stand up. Photo will be there, and let you not be only seen, but also heard if possible. Let us begin. Number 1, Chamonix, France. Switzerland. Vaduz, Liechtenstein. Italy. Trento, Italy. Sonthofen, Germany. Rosenheim, Germany. Innsbruck, Austria. Maribor, Slovenia. This year's hosts, Kamnik, Slovenia. Two more delegations. EOSAL Youth Council. And CIPRA Youth Council. Warmly welcome everyone, but there is one flag missing. I need 2 more flag bearers to complete the set. Flag bearers, arrive. Slovenians are not just keen on dancing, we also like food a lot. And it's time for you to follow our two costumes people into the great dining hall. Enjoy your meal.